What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. I'm Ryan Tyler. He's Jack O'Rourke. Nick Padone joining remotely from the house. Hardwired in, Nick. How did that go for you?
It was good, man. I got in the lab. The one thing, this new MacBook that I bought, people will remember a couple of months ago, I sadly had to lay to rest my 2016 MacBook Pro that I had since my senior year of high school. That thing made it almost 10 years. I got this new MacBook Air. The issue with it is you're a little bit limited on these USB Type-C ports. So we're going no charger today, but we've got the camera, we've got the microphone, we've got the hardwire in and the headphones, obviously. So we're going no charger. It might be dicey on some of my calls later on if the laptop's got enough juice, but we are here on a freezing cold Wednesday of the Big Factor, and we'll see if I lag at all.
Well, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Does anybody remember that? The Spider-Man guy in the mirror? It is Wednesday, my dudes. You remember that, Jack?
I remember hearing that phrase, but I cannot correlate a video to
Okay,
it.
I'll show you it after the show. But anyway, it's Wednesday, and the first mission that I want to get on this show is we have to find out who the absolute jackass is that stopped Ichiro from becoming the second ever unanimous Hall of Famer. Only Mariano Rivera, 2019 inductee is that, guys. One vote off. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. I can't think of a single scenario, a single thought that could cross somebody's mind, especially someone given the privilege who's supposed to have the knowledge that votes these guys into Cooperstown, to ever consider voting no on Ichiro. It's absolutely insane to me, and we need to find out who it did and revoke them from ever voting again for this.
Yeah, there's no group of people on the planet who have a bigger power trip or are more in love with themselves than the BBWA, Baseball Writers Association. These people think they are bigger than the sport. They think they matter more in the sport. There was a day and a time back 50, 60 plus years ago when newspapers, journalists had this integrity in baseball. It's not like that anymore, guys. I mean, Ichiro is basically, I feel very comfortable saying this. I think Ichiro in many ways, not literally, is the Jackie Robinson of the Asian community when it comes to baseball. He was one of the first players that made the transition over and made it as easy as it was because of how good he was. The guy hit over 300 all the time. He had so many 200-hit seasons, and there's one jackass out there who decided that Ichiro Suzuki is not good enough to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. We had this debate come up a couple years ago when Derek Jeter also wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer. And guys, I just want to ask you, do you guys think there is any group of human beings who think higher of themselves than the BBWA?
Maybe some people in the Oval Office, but that's for another discussion. But anyways.
the pro football writers, too. Like, don't sleep on football writers. But, yeah, baseball definitely hasn't beat.
Well, Ichiro, the first Japanese-born player to get into Cooperstown. Hey, you think Shohei Ohtani's going to be there in the future? I think that's already a given. But anyways, other notable guys that are going in, of course, we know here, CC Sabathia. He gets in. He's going to Cooperstown. Guys, not as an Indian, as a Yankee. I think that was expected. Not shocking, I would say. But him and his family is going to be wearing the Yankees cap. Jack, your thoughts on that? And I mean, you weren't surprised by that, were you?
No, not at all. I mean, he made a lot of his money and played a big chunk of his career, won his World Series with the Yankees. There's the legendary story about CC his last year in the league, I believe it was. He had to hit a certain threshold of innings to get like an extra $3 million on his contract. It was the last game of the season. He was the starting pitcher, so it was the first inning of the game. One of his guys got hit, and he was like, no, I don't care about the money. I'm not taking that. He plunked the guy back, got ejected from the game. But yeah, I mean, CC's a really cool induction on the first ballot for a lot of reasons. There was a day and a time where getting 300 wins as a starting pitcher was almost like you have to reach that milestone to get into the Hall of Fame. CC comes short of that. But when you think about a modern-day ace, we're not in the 1940s where Lefty Gomez and all those guys are going 9 innings 3 times a week and breaking their arms off. It's a day in an era where guys go 6, 7 innings. CC one of the first guys from this era. I think King Felix maybe one day also, a guy that I think of as an ace from my childhood, will get in as well.
It kind of sucks to see him go in as a Yankee. I'll say it. You know, he obviously has done a lot for the Cleveland community, still very involved here. He even said last night, that he felt like he really, grew up and became a man in Cleveland, but New York and the Bronx was where he found a home. It makes you think like the next Cleveland baseball, really Cleveland Indians / Cleveland Guardian Hall of Fame inductee is probably Jose. And that kind of stings. And I'm not surprised that CC went in there as a Yankee, but you see that, especially because it could have kind of maybe been a coin flip of, does he go in as an Indian? Does he go as a Yankee? Probably definitely not a Brewer, but that would have been funny. And it
I don't
just
know,
kind
man.
of bites that he picked the Yankees.
Nick, I'm glad you brought up the discussion of potentially Jose being the next one to get in, because it leads me to ask you guys this. Corey Kluber, okay, didn't get the ring. He's won MVP, wrong sport. AL Cy Young, of course. Do you guys think Corey Kluber has any chance of getting in to be the next Indian/Guardian?
2-time Cy Young,
Yeah.
I think helps his that helps his case. The ring would have been, had he won it in 2016, especially as the ace of that team. That he started game 7. I know that was, maybe a mistake. We could kind of do revisionist history on that, on super uber short rest. But I don't know, Jack, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Mr.
Corey
Baseball
Kluber to the HOF, to Cooperstown?
Yeah, this pains me to say because I love Corey Kluber. But I'm a huge Felix Hernandez guy, as I mentioned earlier. I believe Felix Hernandez, correct me if I'm wrong, got somewhere between 20 and 30% of the vote, and he's been on the ballot for a couple of years now. He's a guy who also has some Cy Youngs. I think he has a very similar career to Corey Kluber, except the fact that Felix Hernandez had his prime, his dominance for a much longer stretch. Like, looking back on it, Kluber, I would say probably 2015 is when he really took off as an ace, maybe 2014 with the Tribe. I mean, 2013, he was still kind of the bottom of our rotation. That didn't really last past 2018, maybe 2019. A 4 to 5 year elite dominant stretch isn't enough for the Hall of Fame based off of these writers. Is he a Heritage Park guy? 1,000,000%, but I don't think he gets in as a Hall of Famer.
If it was the Hall of really good, Corey Kluber would be in.
Totally,
yeah.
That's what the Indians/Guardians Hall of Fame is for. The really good, but some of them don't make it to Cooperstown, which obviously CC did both. But the only other person to make it in this round to the Hall of Fame with Ichiro and with CC Sabathia is Billy Wagner. He makes it on his 10th try, closer for the Astros and Mets. 422 saves, career 2.31 ERA. Jack, was this his last try? I don't know exactly how it works for baseball. I mentioned it was his 10th. Was this his final go-around to get in?
Yeah, so you can always get in on the veterans committees or the era committees. Like, maybe he could have gotten in 100 years and his great-great-great-grandson could have accepted it, but I'm a big believer on if a guy deserves to be in, he should get in while he's alive. He had an amazing run with the Astros. He's a left-handed closer, pretty cool thing as well. Kind of interesting. Never had a 50-save season, which I thought was a bit odd. But it does also beg me to ask what's going to happen to closers in the future, because there was a time in a day really before Mariano Rivera. Obviously, there's Bruce Sutter, some great closers, Lee Smith of the past who are in the Hall of Fame. But it was kind of like the kicker, the punter in a way for a long time, which it really shouldn't be. And I'm excited to see what happens with a couple of guys who are on the ballot right now. Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod, who I believe has a save record in a season. I could be wrong, but he did hold it for a while. He was a steroid user for 1 or 2 years, so maybe we'll see how it goes for him. But I'm excited to see if that opens up the door for relievers in the future. Maybe Clase could be in the Hall of Fame in the future. I could probably make an argument for you guys right now. If you put a gun to my head, I would say Clase is closer than Kluber.
Already?
I mean, if he continues on this path for 3 or 4 more years. Yeah, if he stops today, no. But yeah, if Clase gives you 3 to 4 more years of this level, maybe gets 2 more AL Rolaids Reliever of the Year awards, I think he could get it for sure.
That's regular season Clase, that is.
Yeah, definitely not the award posting Clase.
Well, I mentioned the last year. Also going into his final year on the ballot next year is, of course, we know him here, Manny Ramirez. He got 34.3% of the vote, but it begs to come up with the discussion. Guys that use PEDs, how do they weigh it? How do they vote him in? Obviously, Barry Bonds isn't in there. You got other cheaters, probably they are. A-Rod as well. He got 37.1% of the vote. Andy Pettit, 27.9% of the vote. Do you guys think, one, Barry Bonds, of course, is the poster child for that, will ever get in? And 2, do you think he should get in?
Will ever get in? I do think at some point in time, a veterans committee will choose to put in all of the steroid users. But I really can't get behind it, especially when you look at how good Barry Bonds was in Pittsburgh before he even got to San Francisco and started using steroids. You look at how good A-Rod was his first couple of years in the league before he was using steroids. I think 2002 is the first time they caught him using steroids. It's weird, though, because you look at Carlos Beltran, who had a Hall of Fame career before he ever put on a Houston Astros jersey. He was one of the guys who was not indicted, but he was involved in that Astros cheating scandal. Obviously, he was great at the Royals and Mets beforehand. He's up to 70% of the votes. You need 75% to get in the Hall of Fame. It's looking like he gets in. If you let him in for a cheating scandal, I know that sign stealing, you don't have any inherent physical advantages. You still have to go out there and hit the ball, even if you know what pitch is coming. And yeah, it's a bit easier to hit the ball when you know what pitch is coming. But if he gets in, I really think it opens a can of worms for the debate of do the steroid guys get in as well. So I'm really interested to see if Carlos Beltran collects that last 5% of the vote. But you also don't know, because look at A-Rod. A-Rod has, I think you said 37% of the vote, right? A-Rod's a guy who, you look at that, you say, okay, yeah, he had an amazing career. He's got like probably 6 or 7 years left on the ballot. He's going to get there. The issue for him is that the 40% who think A-Rod should be in the Hall of Fame have already voted for A-Rod to be in the Hall of Fame. It's convincing the other 60%. I wonder if Carlos Beltran is 5% away from guys who don't think he should get in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, anybody on the Astros, I say fuck them.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, you forget, like that was so at the end of Carlos Beltran's time in the MLB. I forgot that he was even involved in that entire thing. So catch me if I was one of these, idiot baseball writers. Catch me in the 70-some% saying, for sure put him in there. But yeah, you remember that he was involved in that, and it's like, I don't know if he should be allowed in there. If some of these absolute A-list legends like A-Rod, Barry Bonds aren't in there because they were using steroids in an era, if we're being honest, and I know this gets discussed all the time, where is it really cheating if everybody else is doing it? I don't know. It's funny. It's something to think about.
I think Barry Bonds not getting in the Hall of Fame. I understand why, but I mean, it's bullshit. Regardless of steroids, that's probably, if not the best power hitter in baseball. I mean, let's be real. You're making that face, Jack. What do you got to say?
And I was going to get back to Carlos Beltran for a quick second. A thing people forget also about Carlos Beltran is that he got hired as the Mets manager right before the cheating scandal came out, and he never coached a game. But
yeah.
Ryan, the thing I just can't get past, and I think this applies both to the Astros and to the steroids, is that the amount of other people you are affecting. There are guys who come up who get one shot in the major leagues, a cup of coffee, whatever, and there's a lot of guys who they get to make a spot start. Like, let's say Hunter Gaddis, for example. Before Hunter Gaddis got moved to the bullpen and worked out, Hunter Gaddis was a spot starter who made 2 or 3 starts for the team in 2022, I believe it was. There's guys like him who never get the chance to go back and convert to a reliever. And there's guys who make their major league debuts and something goes wrong, whether it's a cheating scandal and they know what pitches are coming, or there's guys using steroids. And there are guys who will never get another chance in the league to make money because other guys are cheating, and I just can never get past that, and I could never put those guys in the Hall of Fame. I understand Barry Bonds is one of, if not the greatest players of all time, and there's people on their phones right now yelling at me, you still got to hit the baseball, no matter what you do to put some extra weight on or whatever. But I'm so against the cheating, man. I mean, there are careers that are affected by it and guys who never got to reach their full potential because other guys decided, let me again add, let me make this very, very clear. Barry Bonds, A-Rod, Andy Pettitte, who was like a lesser, I think he had 1 cheating suspension. Those guys already had Hall of Fame careers. They did not need to use PEDs.
Yeah, well, other notable names with lower scores that didn't get in this year: Chase Utley, Felix Hernandez, who we mentioned, Jimmy Rollins, Dustin Pedroia had a nasty glove at second base, and Francisco Rodriguez. Jack, you see any of these guys getting in?
Yeah, I think Chase Utley, if I'm is not the correct word. If it's being projected correctly and the jump he's going to make.
You should get a vote over that.
I would love a vote.
The big factor is, though, we could fill out Jack's ballot live on the
we could. And unlike these assholes, I'll put more than 2 names on it because there's more than 2 guys who deserve to get into the Hall of Fame every single year. And I mean, you get to write 10 guys down. It's not like all 10 are getting in the Hall of Fame if you write them down. Can you write 5 names in or something? Some guys that are close, like maybe give K-Rod a vote. There's guys who are going to leave the ballot every single year. I mean, hell, Shin-Soo Choo is going to be on the ballot next year. There's going to be one guy out there who's like, yeah, you know what, Shin-Soo Choo? Bang, take a check. But that's beside the point. If you get 10 and you put 2, you're a friggin' loser. That's as much as I got for you. You're a loser.
Well, it's hard to get into the MLB Hall of Fame. It's super damn easy to get in the NBA Hall of Fame. We're going to flip after we take our break, transition to the NBA. Suns make a trade with Utah, potentially going all in for another maybe future Hall of Famer on the Miami Heat. We'll talk about that more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. We are brought to you today and every day, of course, by our great friends at Fairway Ford, Ohio. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s as well as Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Don't let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands on your new truck. Yes, that's thousands. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. Again, that's fairwayfordohio.com. Well, Fairway Ford should be in the Truck Hall of Fame, guys. Jimmy Butler,
Absolutely.
I mentioned,
Unanimous.
maybe the Hall of Fame, guys. Let's cut it for what it is. It's not hard to get in the NBA Hall of Fame. Nowhere near the hard as it is compared to getting in the MLB Hall of Fame. But news broke last night from Shams, of course. Who else? That the Suns are making a trade with the Utah Jazz. Guys, I'm going to break this down to you as best I can. Like trade 101 for dummies. I was watching the videos, reading the articles, trying to figure out exactly what this meant. And Nick, you know probably the most about this than me and Jack. But real quick, they traded their 2031 unprotected first-round pick to the Utah Jazz for 3 first-round picks from the Jazz. The Suns will acquire the least favorable first between the following teams in these years. 2025, they'll get, I'm assuming Minnesota, as it's between Minnesota and Cleveland. Cleveland will have the better record, obviously. So they'll get Cleveland's first, 2027, also probably get Cleveland's first. That's between Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah. And in 2029, also between Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah. Basically, what it boils down to, this triples the Suns' first-round equity, as their only first-round pick was 2031. Well, now they have 3. Nick, basically tell us what this means in terms of the Jazz, the Cavs, and the Suns.
So I will dumb this down in the absolute most layman terms ever, because the Cavs are technically involved in this. Pretty much what this trade is the Jazz and the Suns telling you that they believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be pretty damn good for the next 5 years, then really the next decade. They believe the Cavs are going to be pretty good to the point where these first round picks really don't have the same meaning that they did when the Cavs traded them away for Donovan Mitchell. That was a big part of why, remember, when the Cavs made that Donovan trade, people were like, don't worry about the return at all. Like, those first-round picks, if the Cavs were good, are going to be in the late 20s, and that's what we just saw. The Cavs drafted Jalen Tyson this year out of Cal Berkeley in the late 20s, and a good player, but who knows if he becomes anything in the NBA. That's what you're getting in the late first round of the NBA draft. So Utah is pretty much gambling 3 first-round picks to Phoenix that the Cavs are going to be pretty damn good, and that the Suns are going to stink by the year 2031, that this unprotected first-round pick could have a little bit of value if the Suns are terrible. And this kid that's currently 10 or 12 years old in 2031 is going to be one of the top, it's an unprotected lottery pick. So a lottery player, in the 2031 NBA draft. Really also the true meaning of why this trade went down. Phoenix gets the 3 first-round picks that they're going to probably try to use in a Jimmy Butler trade. Like, now the Jimmy Butler thing heats up. That's the biggest star in the NBA that's available. So keep an eye out. Jimmy Butler could be on the move coming up here soon.
To understand why they did this trade, you first have to understand how different, say, the NFL draft is compared to the NBA draft. You can find late first-round picks that are absolute stars, future Hall of Famers. The odds of finding a future Hall of Famer in the late first, especially in this scenario where the Cavs are probably going to be, you hope obviously 30th, are so minimally low. So yes, Nick. So what I'm getting is that you trade these 3 first-round picks because they probably won't amount to anything, banking on the Cavs being really good, the Suns sucking in 2031 to get yourself hopefully a franchise player in, God, what is that, 6 years?
Yeah,
that's the craziest part about this.
It's definitely a little bit of a gamble, because in a world like, those 3 first-rounders could hit, and then that 2031 the Suns could be really good in the year 2030, and then the gamble doesn't pay off. But obviously, it's kind of a long-term view for Utah and a short-term view for the Suns, where they're saying, hey, let's try to get these 3 first-round picks, package them up, probably send them to Miami for Jimmy Buckets.
So let me ask you guys this as a guy who's not a huge basketball guy. Looking at it from a Suns perspective, obviously you have the big 3 there, then they have basically no one around them. Tyus Jones is their point guard, right?
Yeah, you got Grayson Allen, Mr. Tripper.
Grayson Allen, I didn't even know he was in the NBA. Good for him. I remember him at Duke like 10 years ago. But so what it comes down to is they have no future, so they're just mortgaging whatever they have left of a future on going to get Jimmy Butler. Like, what if they don't get Jimmy Butler? Did they just have no future then?
The thing is, I mean, I think they could get Jimmy Butler. Well, what's nice too, Jack, is like they'll be able to recoup that, like a little bit of a semblance of a future, because some of these guys that they have are like under contract. So you'd be in the event that you trade for Jimmy Butler in 2 years when he inevitably gets disgruntled in Phoenix, they'd be able to send him away for something. And that's the bigger point here is, what does Jimmy Butler really do for the Phoenix Suns? You know, the Suns are kind of like bottom of the barrel, you know, lower playoff seed in the Western Conference. Like, I don't think anybody seriously finds them title contenders. I don't know what Butler to the Suns really does in the first place. Like, that's the bigger question here.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. I understand that you have KD, who obviously in a couple of years won't be nearly the player he is now. I mean, he's already getting up there in age. Devin Booker's great. Bradley Beal's okay. It's adding the star name more than I think adding the fit. And I guess if you're Phoenix, you already went all in. Why not one more shebang? Bring Jimmy Butler into town. I think they're 500 right now as they stand. I don't see it working out. I guess I understand from both sides of the trade their point of views. But yeah, NBA trades are they're so strange. Like 6 years in advance, you have no idea what the world's going to be like if it's even still here.
Yeah, I as someone who is not a huge NBA guy, you guys can hopefully help me out with this. Like, don't get me wrong, I've played my fair share of 2K rebuilds in my day, but I don't even get like the protected, the unprotected, top 3 protected, lottery protected. Why do you do that? Like, I don't get why. Like, why would you trade for a draft pick if it's protected in the top 15 or the top 3 and you won't even get to make it? I've never understood that about the NBA.
It's just become common, like it's just become commonplace. So that way, like teams don't get burnt. You know, in the event that the trade blows up in their face and everybody, you know, and they end up sucking, like they're not giving a team, they're not getting Deshaun Watson. You know, they're not getting these prime first round picks like the Browns gave the Texans in the Watson deal, because Watson was never any good. It's like an insurance play almost, if you will. And teams, you know, are usually desperate, a little bit more desperate in the NBA to make these moves. So I imagine the protections are just a little bit easier of a thing to agree to. Like, yeah, you know, they're expecting when they make the trade that they're going to be pretty good. So they're like, yeah, in the event that, you know, you end up in the top 15, sure, you can have it back.
So how did the Los Angeles Clippers decide to trade for Jarrett Jack and give us Baron Davis on the pick that became Kyrie? Like, how did we end up getting that pick in the? Was Kyrie like was our pick not supposed to be that high and we won big?
Yeah, it was.
Wait, was that the Nick Gilbert, like the why not us or whatever?
One of the Nick Gilbert things for sure. But I mean, the Cavs still were a lottery team. So to that point, like, yeah, they could have lottery protected it and they just didn't. And also too, that was well over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was 2012 or really 2011. So yeah, that was a bit ago. The protections and stuff are a little bit more of a new thing, but yeah, we'll see, because like I feel like Jimmy Butler becomes a Sun, and I just don't think that like changes this landscape of like the way that the league currently looks today. Like, I don't, all of this is cool, and it's funny when you see, you know, 3 draft picks get moved for 1, and it's kind of like, what are they cooking type thing. But I understand why it happened. I just don't think it really makes any sense for Phoenix at all.
Utah will now have 11 first-round picks in the next 7 years, guys. And to go back to why Utah did it, because they project the Cavaliers to be so good for so many years to come, speaks volumes. You've already seen it play out this year. 36-6 are the Cavaliers right now. And just the future in Cleveland is so bright, guys. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley. Just credit all the world to Kobe Altman for sticking to his guns, because I was upset. I thought, no way in hell you bring in a head coach and that's going to magically fix everything. But Kenny Atkinson has shut me up big time, guys. The best start in franchise history. You're looking at the 1 seed going into All-Star break. Kenny Atkinson will be the head coach of the East. Very well deserved. And I think without a doubt, I mean, how is he not going to be coach of the year?
Yeah.
Man, with this there we go. You're good.
There we go.
Baby.
The router gave up for the first time of the show. But you mentioned like Kobe sticking to his guns. Like the Donovan trade, I think everyone was excited about it, but it had its naysayers both locally and nationally, because it was a lot that the Cavs gave up But like, this trade goes to show like the Donovan Mitchell trade was so good. Like you found a way to get a bona fide superstar to Cleveland. Then you're so good in that short 2 years that you convince him to stay and re-sign long term. And who knows if he plays out the entire 5 years or what happened. The NBA is so year to year. But it just is a testament to how good that trade was that the Cavs made with the Jazz to get Donovan to Cleveland in the first place.
Yeah, I kind of love it. I mean, I'm a guy who comes from more of a hockey background. I know you guys don't know a ton about the NHL, but hockey is one of our sport where, like, yeah, free agency matters and you go out and get a guy or two, but you kind of run back the same team year after year with more so like you adjust the role players instead of going out to get a star. Like it's way less, like you mentioned, Nick, that the NBA is on a year-to-year basis almost. Like hockey, you got a pretty good idea before the year who's going to be good and stay good for the next 3 to 4 years. So it kind of reminded me of hockey in a way, how they stuck to their guns. And usually in hockey, it is you go make the coach change.
Yeah. Well, we talked about baseball. We talked about basketball. We're going to talk about football when we get back, but probably not in the way that you think. Interesting story. I guess this isn't the first time I've heard about it. I think the first time you guys have heard about it. We'll talk about that and more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Well, last time I checked, guys, Little Italy, the festival was in Cleveland, but this time Toledo's getting a little bit of Italy here as the Italian Football League, I guess, is bringing its championship game to the great city of Toledo, Ohio. Go Rockets. Apparently, this is the third consecutive year that they bring this thing to Toledo. I guess the previous 40 were in Italy. This game is be played at what they call the Glass Bowl. Is there a connection glass in Toledo? Probably. I don't know it.
Yeah,
they make a lot of glass.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Their hockey team has Glass City on their jerseys, actually. Like they're an NBA team, the Toledo University.
Well, Nick, you're our resident Italian background guy, right? I don't know ethnicity. Lack of words going to my brain right now. You showing up to this thing or what?
I don't know. Toledo's quite the trek
for an Italian game.
Yeah, I don't know that many people.
Free breadsticks, though, I heard.
I mean, that could entice me. That could bring me out. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's cool that it's been here for a couple of years. I haven't heard anything about this. I didn't even know that there was an Italian football league. And, like, I saw the TikTok and I was like, maybe this is like a thing. And like the guy was saying, like, there's people like myself of Italian heritage, Italian descent that are able to play in this league. Like, Ben DiNucci isn't from Italy, but, played in the NFL and, is obviously from the Italian descent. But no, like this is actually an American football league in Italy where they play American football. There's a bunch of teams in there. We get the championship right here in the great state of Ohio. So I can't tell you, boys, that I will be going down to Toledo for the Italian Football League championship because I couldn't even tell you the date, but pretty cool that we get an event like this. And, I love whenever the great country of Italy gets a little bit of love across the sportscape.
Yeah, I'm calling that we start the events meeting early here, Nick. I think we absolutely have to go to this game now that we know about it. I saw tickets are starting at $15. You can get the nice inside club buffet seats for the low price of $50. And this is the Italian Football League Super Bowl. I mean, this could be one of the biggest events you cover in your life. You never know. I think we have to make a trip out to the Glass City for it. How could you not?
Well, if
We
my
could probably
Roman,
have unparalleled access.
if I can read Roman numerals correctly, XLIV, the 44th Italian Bowl. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. June 28th, 2025. Mark your calendars. That's 157 days away. I guess, guys, the first Italian football season dates back to 1980, more than 40 years ago. I had no idea about this. 100 affiliated teams counting more than 10,000 male and female athletes who complete in tackle and flag football. How have we not played the NFL in Italy yet? You got to think that's next.
Yeah, it's just so far away, I feel, is the issue. Like that, how? Like, what's the farthest they've gone so far?
Well, we're going to
London?
Berlin, right?
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Berlin, I think, it would be the furthest. They're talking about Australia.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I remember they used to have NFL Europe, which was like the equivalent of the G League. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't really alive, or I was alive, but I wasn't cognizant for it. But yeah, they're going to keep pushing across the pond, I would guess you could say. But the biggest question about this, which we haven't addressed yet, and there's no reasoning that I've seen listed, but how the hell did they decide on Toledo, Ohio, to play the Italian Football League Championship in?
That's probably the biggest question. Yeah, because I don't even know. And again, this is just my own ignorance, but like, are there a lot of Italian people in Toledo? That would probably be the hat tip if there was. I know Toledo's like very close. When you get to Toledo, you're damn near in Michigan.
I
don't know that there's a ton of Italian people in Michigan.
I was thinking about Toledo. I think there's a Toledo, Spain. So that's where my head went at first, and I realized that is not Italy. So I have no clue. I mean, it's not like Toledo's like a really renowned city outside of Ohio either. Like, it's probably top 5 in population, but if you ask your random person from LA, I don't think they know what Toledo, Ohio is, right?
Right, or where to point it out on a map,
Definitely not that.
It's a very unique place for this game to be played, and I know you guys want to. I mean, that 2-hour drive. I'm going to need some convincing for a 2-hour drive.
Well, I guess most recently in 2024 is a rematch of the Parma Panthers and the Firenze.
I know where Parma's at.
I mean, too.
And the Firenze Guelfi, and I guess the Parma Panthers got their 5th title, 2022. The Guelfi won their first ever when they beat the Milan Seamen, that not the other kind of Seamen, in the XLI, that is 40th Italian Bowl.
I mean, you know what Coach Mariano has done with the Parma Panthers over the last 10 years has been incredible. It's an unprecedented run in the IFL. We know there's 11 different franchises that have won a championship in the IFL. 5 is, in fact, the most. So it would be really cool. Like, we talked yesterday on the show about going to see like the Kansas City, or a couple days ago, we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, are you tired of them? Is it cool? Long live dynasties. I am, in fact, a Parma Panthers fan. I'm excited to see Coach Mariano and the boys when they hit Cleveland in July.
Is that actually the name? Is that actually the coach, or did you just pull out a random Italian last name?
Yeah, I just pulled out a random Italian last name. I don't know.
That
anything
sounded
about the
pretty
Parma Panthers.
convincing.
It was pretty convincing. Similar to like the Pop-Tart Bowl where they toast that big Pop-Tart at the end and it like picked up a ton of steam. Like, I have a marketing idea that I'm going to give for free right here to the Italian Football League, which I didn't even know existed 24 hours ago. But my free consulting tip is to have the trophy be a big cannoli. That would get people out. You want people to tune in. You want people to buy your $15 tickets. Have the trophy be a big cannoli and have a bunch of, the game-winning paisans just dig right into the cannoli.
Well, that's going to be taking place, I said, June 25th. Also something that may be taking place again in June, July, August, somewhere around there like we did last year is the Big Play Golf Invitational. We had our first one last year. I'm looking forward to it again this year, assuming we're going to do it, especially since we're bringing the great Jimmy Hanlon on board here at Big Play. That'll be an event to go to. Nick, you have a funny story about it happened with Paige Sporanic. Everybody knows Paige Sporanic, as well as the video that went around viral, Ryan Day, the girl crashing the golf cart with Will Howard on the back. That was hilarious. We're going to talk about that more. And then Jack has a special game for us that we're going to play when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padilla. And before we go into this, I want to say I'm very pissed to this day that Paige Spiranac was at our Big Play Golf Invitational. I was so excited to see her. Nowhere in sight for me.
Yeah,
What'd she dip after 5 minutes? I still think about that to this day.
I think outside of playing at a beautiful golf course, one of the big pitches for my group and why we were so excited was to meet Paige, and she didn't make it out to our hole either. But Nick, I understand that you did get to meet Paige Spiranac at the golf outing last year.
Yeah, so she was actually there for a minute, but we weren't too mobile with her. And she had a couple of groups of people that, it was kind of, it was of importance that she played through these holes. So I was like ushering around our videographer. So I was like driving a cart literally without even clubs in it, literally just had like camera equipment and microphones in it. So I was like just sitting on the 2 holes that we were kind of like going back and forth with Paige. So we were everyone was getting ready to advance. And like, if you guys didn't know, or like for the audience, like Paige is massive, like across platforms. She is like an actual like supermodel, so she massive followings on Instagram, TikTok, like. And when you have that and you're an attractive woman, you have, some stalkers that unfortunately are a part of her career and life that she has to deal with. So she has a security detail, and this security detail, at least one of the members, what was straight out of a movie. Like this lady was a cartoon, had the look down to a T with the polo shirt, the slacks, the glasses. She was chatting it up with me and Gab Cruz for the better half of really an hour. We got this whole lady's life story, and she was so funny. The security woman, just straight out of a movie. So we're all getting ready to move on to the next hole. And this is where the golf cart story and what makes it similar to the Ryan Day incident comes in. Those golf carts, when you throw them in reverse, they make a very distinct noise you know that you're in reverse when you're backing up a golf cart. Well, this lady that's literally driving Paige's golf cart with Paige in it, we're all lined up there on the cart path. That noise is going off. For whatever reason, she sends it, floors the gas, goes straight backwards, crashes in to Garage Beer's chief marketing officer, who like damn near fell out of his golf cart. And it was just so funny because this lady has, the look down to a T, like, the security, like she's playing the part of security so well with the sunglasses and the polo shirt and the slacks. And I'm chatting it up with her for an hour. And she's like a not even real human being. And then just floors her cart in the wrong direction into one of the most important people that was at the outing that day. So when Ryan Day, when that girl crashed the cart,
it wasn't even close.
It
wasn't even close.
She turned her wheel as if there was space. She was damn near hitting the wall before she cut it.
I will say,
she went so fast too. Like they crashed into that wall kind of hard. And it just reminded me. I was like, no way did this happen. That I've been talking to this lady about God knows what for the last hour, and now she just crashed her golf cart. Like, yeah. So I definitely have a similar memory, and it was a similar scene where, like, when a collision like that happens, like, everybody's heads turn. So yeah, that was like, I felt bad for the girl in that video too, that because she kind of just like got out and ran off. Yeah, I've been there. I've seen something very similar to that happen.
Yeah, I can't take credit for it, but I did see a tweet from Big Cat about the Will Howard and Ryan Day on the golf cart, and he said, in the ladies' defense, that wall did come out of nowhere, which I don't think enough people are talking about.
Did she go to Georgia?
Yeah, I didn't see any liquor in her cart, so I would assume not. Go Dogs.
Will Howard said that she was driving them like off the field, and he said that she was just sending it, like zipping in and out of people, like she was on a mission to get them to that press conference when they crashed into that wall, and yeah, she wasn't even close.
The best part about that video too is if you go back and watch it, they get out of the car and start to just walk to their destination, and you got some dude probably wasted right on like the side reaching over pat Ryan Day in the back. You fucking deserve this, dude. This is all you. You fucking deserve it. it. And Ryan Day is just so straight-faced walking. Totally embarrassing. I feel bad for that woman.
Dude, I think like watch the clip back again. Ryan Day has his like leg kind of half on, have one leg on, one leg off the cart. Like I think his foot might have got like smushed up against the wall. It's like you watch him get off the cart. Watch Ryan Day in that clip. He's a little bit shaken up when he gets off the golf cart. Because I think the lady kind of like mangled his foot up against the wall the way that he was sitting kind of half on, half off of it.
All right, that's funny, Jack. You were going to end this thing. You have a game for us, I guess.
I do have a game for you guys
Better
today.
than this or that?
I'm hoping it's better than this or
so.
that. If it's not better than this or that, this might be my last time making a game. So we are going to find out.
Is it better than this Ethernet cord?
I hope it's better than the Ethernet cord as well. So guys, we're going to do Guess the Year today. So I'm going to have 5 different questions for you here. I'm going to name a player who led his NBA team in scoring that season in points per game.
So before you say this, are me and Nick taking turns?
No, you guys are together. Just cumulative.
Oh,
you guys got to
team.
get the right answer here, okay?
So we get to discuss.
See if you can go 5 for 5, maybe. Okay. So you're going to get an NBA player and the year he led his team in points, a movie that was in the top 5 box office movies for that year, and a song that closed the year in the top 5 of the Billboard Top 100. So they're all very popular things. I would assume
3 questions.
There are 3. You're going to get 3 different clues to guess the year.
And there's 5 of these.
And there's 5 of these. Yes.
Okay, I was like, how are we going 5 for 5 then? I got you.
Okay, yes. So first one, guys, ready?
Yep.
Danny Granger leads the Indiana Pacers in points per game.
Wow.
Inception debuts in theaters.
Okay, I know it.
And Airplanes by B.O.B. and Haley Williams comes out.
I know the answer, Nick.
So, give Nick a chance then if he does.
I trust you. Go for it.
2012.
Nick, you want to take a chance?
Oh, am I off by 1 year?
Not 1 year.
What?
I was gonna say 2014.
You guys are trending in the wrong direction.
2010?
Wow.
2010 is correct.
I thought Inception was 2012.
No.
Danny Granger.
I was
2010.
confident.
Isn't that crazy, Danny Granger?
Damn, I was confident too.
Hey, you can still recover.
I'm old.
Big
That was a
doom.
long time ago.
There's some little more recent.
All right, we'll get back on the horse.
Okay. Yao Ming leads the Rockets in points per game. Twilight debuts in theaters. And Viva La Vida by Coldplay finishes in the top 5.
What a good song. That's like a top 5 song ever.
That's got to be like right. And can we like confer a little bit here, Jack?
You guys can talk it out as long as you want.
My first thought, Nick, was 2008.
That was mine as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
So then I think we got to lock in 2008.
And fellas, you would be so correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even it back out. Okay.
By the way, play Viva La Vida at my funeral.
If I beat you, then I will. All right. Harrison Barnes leads the Mavericks in points per game. Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is the second most recent of the new trilogy, goes into theaters. And Bad and Bougie by Migos.
Oh, God.
Wow, Bad and Bougie.
So we're getting more recent.
So we also, by the way, how do we not have a Harrison Barnes Mavericks Bad and Bougie Jordy edit out on TikTok?
Great question. Bad and Bougie, Harrison Barnes, and what was the other one?
Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is the second most recent of the new trilogy.
Okay. My first thought, Nick, 2017.
2017 was Harrison Barnes still on the Warriors?
Or was that the year he got traded and KD
because of
came?
KD? Let's go with 2017.
All right.
Final answer?
Yeah?
Yeah, 2017 or 2018. I don't know.
Which
I
one?
don't know if Bad and Bougie was still in high school. If I was still in high school, let's go 2017.
And you guys are now above 500.
Yes.
Nice.
2 for 3. Okay.
I like this game.
2 left. Jeff Green leads the Celtics in points per game.
Uncle Jeff.
Whiplash debuts in theaters. And Dark Horse by Katy Perry and Juicy J is top in the charts.
Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, Whiplash, Jeff Green. God, he's been on a million teams. What are you thinking, Nick?
I almost want to go. The Katy Perry one is what throws me for a little bit of a loop, but it's somewhere in that other one of the two. It's in the 2008 ballpark somewhere.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I think it was a long time.
I don't know if Whiplash came out that long ago.
So okay, so maybe like 2010. So maybe a little bit scooted up a little.
I was initially thinking 2014. Did we already use 2014?
No, 2014. Is it Jeff Green on the Celtics in 2014? Maybe. We could try 2014.
There's no way dark horse. I don't think there's no way. You said dark horse.
Dark horse, yeah.
It's got to be post 2010. Do you want to go? I mean, I don't want to get this wrong.
We could split it 2010. So I agree that it's past 2010. 2014 though, you got to think like LeBron's back on the Cavs. But is Jeff Green on the Celtics?
Was that when they traded, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett to the Nets?
I think so.
So they were
all right. We could roll with it. We could roll with 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were in Brooklyn.
Right. And you guys have clinched a winning record in the first edition of This or That 2014.
Let's go.
Because I was trying to find a year where the Celtics didn't have like a star top tier guy.
Isaiah Thomas before, yeah.
And can you guys, this is the hardest one in my opinion. Can you guys go 4-1, end the day on a 4-game winning streak? Andre Iguodala leads the 76ers in points per game. Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell and Julianne Moore is in theaters.
Fantastic movie.
And E.T. by Katy Perry and Kanye West is one of the top songs.
Dude, another Katy Perry.
That's obviously the earliest.
I mean, she had a generational run. I don't decide who's in the Billboard top 5, Nick.
So, E.T., Iggy, and Stupid Crazy Love.
Crazy Stupid Love, yeah.
Crazy Stupid Love. Have we used 2008? I think that might be the time to use it.
Yeah, we used 2008.
So then it's got to be before that.
I was going to go 2010 for this one.
Oh, really? Was Iggy still on the Sixers?
Where did he go? Where was
Maybe
he
it is 2010. Maybe. Yeah, you're right. I think you might be right.
It could. I was even thinking it could have been further. This could be like 2011 as well. 2010 or 2011 is kind of what I'm between.
E.T. and Crazy Stupid Love. I'll let you pick. I'm fine with 2010 or 2011.
All right.
Because we haven't used them yet, right?
I'll go with my gut. The first one that I thought was 2010. So let's go with 2010.
Okay.
I feel like that's wrong based off Jack's face.
Sorry, Nick. 2011 was correct.
Damn it. That
You
was
were right in the ballpark, though. That was pretty good.
Winning record, though, guys. First time playing the game, winning record.
Yeah. No, you're
Not
right.
bad.
I like that game. That was fun. That was way better than This or That. Nick, you agree?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny, like it puts you back in that time,
I thought, Jack, you were going to one time hit us with like a 1975 or something like that. That would have been funny.
I thought about it. I did think about it. Maybe we can play again. Who knows?
Yeah.
I took an elective my senior year at Tordonia, Ryan. You were probably smarter than me, so you probably weren't in these like screw around classes, but it was called Your Life, where you take I
didn't take it, but I know it, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
did you get
did
you get like the baby?
No, I didn't.
The doll?
I didn't get it.
When I was in Your Life.
So Your Life was different. Your Life was honestly like a trivia class. So like I was born. Yeah, it was cool as hell. It was like technically coded as history, but it's all.
Who was your teacher?
I
think I took that with Costanzo.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that class was awesome.
Yeah, so it was. So like I was born in '98. So and obviously like you could only take it as a senior, I think. So everyone else in there was born in '98 as well. So you literally learn stuff year by year, and you have a test every single year from throughout your life, So 1998 songs, movies, sports, pop culture, news events, 1999, 2000, 2001. So
that's pretty cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, that class was sick. Sorry, Jack, you went to Ignatius, didn't offer that?
No.
It happens. All right, well, we got to get out of here. Thank you for everybody for tuning in on The Big Factor. We'll be back tomorrow for a Thirsty Thursday. Maybe we'll have a Garage Beer, Jack. I don't know. It'll be kind of early. But anyways, thanks to Garage Beer. Thanks to Fairway Ford for tuning in. Thanks to Jack for creating that game. We appreciate everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful hump day, everybody.